one political commentator says Gen Z is actually the most conservative generation since World War II. Here's One America's Nathaniel Manner.
The 2024 election is almost here as Joe Biden is scrambling to win voters in swing states, especially among young Americans. Now, while Gen Z and millennials typically vote for Democrats, a recent New York Times poll found that Donald Trump may be closing this gap. Here to discuss this is independent podcaster and the author of The End of the Alphabet, How Gen Z Can Save America, Isabel Brown. Isabel, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so over the years, polls continue to show that Gen Z identifies more with progressivism, specifically on social issues like gay marriage, abortion, and even the Israel-Hamas war now. Now, you say that Gen Z has the power to save America, so how do you get young people to embrace conservative values?
You know, it's a really exciting time to be a Gen Zer, and I'm so excited to be sharing all of this in my new book, The End of the Alphabet. Contrary to a lot of the polls you may have read or things that you're hearing in the mainstream media, culturally, Generation Z has proven ourselves to be the most conservative generation since World War II on a lifestyle basis. And politically, we are charting with more conservative politicians, ballot initiatives, and values in the ballot box with every single election that more of us are continuing to vote in. I think a lot of people are surprised to hear that, but it was Andrew Breitbart that was famous for saying politics is downstream from culture. And if we can change these cultural values and how people live their day-to-day lives, of course, we could impact who sits in the Oval Office. So you might be surprised to know 93% of Gen Z still wants to get married in a time that we have the lowest marriage rate in American history. We're realizing we don't need to spend $250,000 on a degree in underwater African LGBTQ plus basket weaving to get a job. And instead, 62% of us have already started our own businesses. We're believing in God in greater numbers year over year than anyone remotely thought possible in our atheistic society. And I could keep going. We're quitting our birth control. We're deleting our dating apps. But you're watching this cultural rebellion against the lies of authoritarian leftism happening within Generation Z. And I'm extremely hopeful and excited to see where that continues manifesting politically as well.
Well, that certainly makes me a lot more optimistic after just hearing that. But one thing that we have been seeing over the past few years now is that high school boys, while high school boys are becoming a bit more right-wing, high school girls are actually trending to the left. So what do you think is behind this shift?
First and foremost, I think it's important to know it's not just a little bit of a shift to the right for young men. It's an overwhelming blowback to leftism from young men today. We've watched for decades the erasure of masculinity by calling it toxic, necessitating strong voices like Jordan Peterson to inspire this entire generation of young men to embrace their manhood. And now 70% of 17-year-old high school senior boys are overwhelmingly conservative, the most they have been in 50 plus years, which is extremely exciting to see. On the female front, it does look like it's trending in the other direction, but I see a lot of opportunity with Gen Z women today, knowing just how much we've been strategically lied to by the abortion industry, by big pharma in the hormonal birth control industry, by our education system telling us that we need to avoid families and marriage in order to continue climbing the corporate ladder. There is a strategic attack on womanhood, the exact same way we saw this manifested with the attack on masculinity decades ago in America, to the point that we can't even call ourselves women. We're birthing people or people who menstruate or even chest feeders in American hospital settings across the country. In 2021, the CDC said that 1/3 of teenage girls in America seriously contemplated taking her own life. And if that isn't the perfect illustration for just how broken leftism has caused this generation of young women to be, I don't know what else is. But on that cultural front, we are embracing those more conservative values like dating and marriage. We're eating real food. We're throwing away our birth control, so much so that the Washington Post is blaming this exit from big pharma and birth control on right-wing influencer propaganda. So I have no doubt the political pendulum will shift back to conservatism for young women too.
Well, in terms of those young women who are still leaning left, and you see a lot of that on college campuses these days, I guess what are the issues that we can promote to them to really get them on board with conservatism?
Fantastic question. And this is not a foregone battle, right? This is an uphill battle and one we have to strategically fight to continue impacting the next generation with the truth. The left has strategically taken over every pillar of American culture, the education system, the entertainment industry, traditional media, politics, the church, and we could keep going example by example. But I think reaffirming to young women that you are created to be exactly who you are, that men don't make better women than women, and tying us back to the original tenets of what feminism was supposed to be, that a family doesn't have to be an expense to your career or your personal life, but might be the most worthy and fulfilling thing that you could do with your life. Realizing that we are offered so much more fulfillment and happiness than this half in, half out, subjective morality, anything goes society that's making all of us miserable through a conservative pathway offers Generation Z women a far more bright future and exciting future than anything the left has to say.
All right, well, Isabel Brown, it was great to talk with you today.
Thank you so much for having me.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.